In the peaceful village of Oak Hollow, where the rolling hills were blanketed in wildflowers and the sun painted the sky with hues of gold and pink, lived a young woman named Clara. Clara was a hard-working farmer known for her dedication to her land and her tireless efforts to improve her farm. Every day, from dawn until dusk, Clara toiled in her fields, planting, watering, and tending to her crops. She loved her work but often felt overwhelmed by the sheer amount of tasks that needed to be done. Despite the beauty of her surroundings, she rarely took a moment to pause and reflect on her accomplishments. One day, Clara's elderly neighbor, Mrs. Willow, came to visit. Mrs. Willow had a reputation for her wisdom and her deep connection with nature. She found Clara in the fields, sweating and straining under the hot sun. "Clara, dear," Mrs. Willow called out, "you've been working so hard. Why don't you take a break and come with me? I have something to show you." Reluctantly, Clara set down her tools and followed Mrs. Willow to a secluded part of the farm that she rarely visited. There, hidden behind a grove of trees, was a small, neglected garden. Overgrown with weeds and wildflowers, it was a place Clara had forgotten about in her quest to maintain the larger, more productive parts of the farm. "Do you remember this garden?" Mrs. Willow asked with a twinkle in her eye. Clara nodded slowly. "Yes, I planted it when I first started farming here, but I haven't had the time to tend to it properly." Mrs. Willow smiled. "Sometimes we get so caught up in our work that we forget to reflect on what we've already accomplished. Take a moment to look at this garden, Clara. See the beauty that's here, even if it's hidden under the weeds." Clara took a deep breath and looked around the garden. She noticed the vibrant flowers that had managed to bloom despite the neglect, the rich, fertile soil, and the gentle hum of bees and butterflies. She realized that even without constant attention, the garden had flourished in its own way. Mrs. Willow continued, "This garden is a reflection of your efforts and your care. It may not be perfect, but it's full of life and beauty. Give yourself a chance to notice the magic you are making, even in the midst of your hard work." Inspired by Mrs. Willow's words, Clara decided to spend some time tending to the hidden garden. She cleared away the weeds, pruned the overgrown plants, and added new flowers and herbs. As she worked, she felt a sense of peace and satisfaction that she had been missing. Over the following weeks, Clara made it a habit to visit the garden regularly, not just to work, but to sit and reflect on her journey. She began to see the magic in her everyday efforts, the growth of her crops, the health of her animals, and the beauty of her surroundings. One evening, as the sun set over Oak Hollow, Clara sat in her garden and watched the fireflies dance among the flowers. She realized that taking the time to reflect had allowed her to see the magic she was creating every day, even when she didn't notice it. The moral of this story is, take time to reflect and give yourself a chance to notice the magic you are making. Amidst the hard work and daily tasks, it's important to pause and appreciate the beauty and accomplishments that come from your efforts. Reflection helps you recognize the value and impact of what you do, bringing a sense of fulfillment and joy to your life. In conclusion, Brokenwood Mystic Farms symbolizes the enduring connection between humanity and the land, a tribute to the beauty of nature and the importance of honoring traditions in a changing world. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You won't want to miss our short story adventures. If you have any questions, requests, or just want to say hello, feel free to contact us at info@brokenwoodmysticfarms.com. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and have a fantastic day, my friends.